Alright, hello. I'm just gonna get started. I'm looking to experiment with this idea of doing mind maps on YouTube. There are four primary reasons or branches of thought for doing this, and as you can see, they're visual. So the first is why am I doing this? And I think I'm doing it for two reasons. One is to explore various things and just try stuff out. I want to explore ideas of having to do with attention, and in order to do that, it's not just concepts, it's also the ways in which ideas are presented, and so I have to think about the way ideas are presented and what is uptook and focus on that in addition to the ideas. The second is I'm trying to think of better ways to brainstorm. I think mind maps is really good, and I think that if I'm doing them in such a way where it's going to be made public, I'm going to end up approaching it with a higher degree of intentionality. And the third thing I want to explore is YouTube content production. I think learning how to produce content is good for a few reasons. One of which just being, like, in addition to the obvious reasons of potential upside, which is like a narrow band of like likelihood, like getting successful somehow on YouTube. But the second is just producing content seems to give you a more nuanced perspective in consuming content, and so that's cool. And then it could just lead anywhere, so we'll see how that works. Also, I might just enjoy this task. Um, and the direct reason why I'm doing this is the book It's the Way You Say It. I'm reading that right now. I want to try and work on my vocal qualities, and I need to find something where I'm recording my voice and also listening to my voice, and I don't want to just do exercises and do something that isn't useful, like, without other qualifiers, so I want to do that. I think that there are going to be some very clear, direct utilities in doing this. I think it's going to encourage productivity. It's going to force me to be have a higher degree of regularity with my brainstorming and the way I think things out. It's going to allow me to store, organize, and format some of my ideas in such a way that I'll better be able to remember them. And in terms of content, it'll cross over well with producing content for both Instagram and my blog. For my blog, I can just put up the videos and it's like double dipping, and for Instagram, I can put up mind maps. Probably not going to do that right away. Just ease into that, or see if I like this, not just like post the first one. There are a lot of skills that I think this could help develop, and considering that personal improvement is, I think, my primary aim in doing most things, that seems like a pretty good look. So first is what I discussed earlier, is just working on vocal quality. I'm not trying to sound a particular way right now. This is more of a baseline type of way of thinking, but I do want to work on and develop my voice, so if that to some degree seems inauthentic because I'm projecting a certain voice that's not, like, air quotes my own, I don't know, tough. That's going to be what I'm doing, because that's the whole reason why I started thinking of doing this initially, that I thought it was a great idea. So the second is it's going to help with mind mapping, just the process of brainstorming, because I have to approach it with a higher degree of intentionality. It's going to help with editing. Right now, this is going to be a super rough edit for this one. It's just going to be just this picture and just the audio. But I imagine I'll start adding in other things if I get really into this. It's going to help with the skill of content production, a more nuanced type of approach. It's going to also, I'm trying hard not to say because I don't want to say and like, but I think it'll help with weeding those out. Almost did it. I did do it. Okay, it's going to also help with drawing and design, and in terms of being a generalist, one of the things I think I'm really deficient in is the art spectrum, and so drawing and design is great, and also my handwriting's terrible, so maybe it'll get better, because I will see my handwriting as not just doing content, or not just conveying information, but also being, it's not just a transparent guide to information, it becomes opaque, because I know that my handwriting is being looked at, and in that sense, the handwriting itself becomes relevant, which brings us to stuff versus fluff. This is an idea that has been coming up in a lot of books I've been reading on attention. We have The Substance of Style by Virginia Postrel. We have The Economics of Attention. I think it's by Lanham, Richard Lanham, where he uses the stuff versus fluff distinction itself, but the way of thinking it is that the mode of presentation of content is in itself a form of content, and so this is a mode of presentation, way of getting ideas into the head, and that itself is also an idea, or its content in itself. And then we have one last little section, idea development. So I think that mind maps in general are a good way to develop ideas and to conceptualize, because most of thinking that occurs is, or the way humans think is not in a Aristotelian logic sort of if-then statements. They think associatively and via prototypes. At least some people would argue this. Some people argue that they think in terms of propositional logic, and I think those people are wrong. Or, well, sometimes right, but not always right, which is their position. So this will help me develop ideas. It forces me to work things out a little bit more, because to some extent I don't want to be caught with my pants down. If I'm putting something out there publicly, I want to have at least something reasonable, even if this isn't going to be the most polished, which I don't think it is. And this also, if I'm doing it every Monday, like if I make it a Mind Map Monday thing, it's also going to force me to engage with some degree of regularity. A couple of qualifiers for this entire process is that I'm primarily being process-oriented with this. This is about developing skills and also working out ideas primarily, not the end goal of the content, at least at this juncture where I think I'm going to be. So if it doesn't seem the most polished, it's because it's not. Also, I just don't have the skill to polish it. I'm not a mind map expert. My drawings are, I mean, they are what they are, I guess. A lot of this is also going to be stream of consciousness. I'm not going to have a script. I'm just going to plop the mind map in front of me from what I've thought out. That's my brainstorm. That's what I'm going off of. And there's not going to be anything extra or rehearsals. So there's that. And then also my audio equipment and my production is, those skills are literally non-existent. I just downloaded the stuff today, and this is my first time using the tools in which I'm putting this forward, so this is going to be very amateurish. But I think that this will be useful for developing my ideas and also my way of presenting those ideas, which is substance in itself. And so I'm excited for this process, and I think it'll do well. I think I won't belabor it. I think that's all I have to say. And if it's not, then I can just pick up somewhere else. All right.